like to call this meeting to order at 7 p.m.
Here.
Yes. I'd like to welcome everyone here present tonight, and those who are streaming, welcome here as well. We just came from the Blue Ridge Connect meeting that we had over at the Intermediate Junior High building, and that was an excellent time together. Some of you may have been there. We appreciate your presence there. The kids, we have a lot of gifted kids in their artwork, and we got to see some of that. Also got to taste some of the great food that's coming out of the cafeteria, so we appreciate Tanya and the cafeteria staff for providing that for us. Also want to give just a promotion that we are coming upon elections in this next April. A lot of important seats to be filled in our state, especially with the governorship there. But also we have 4 seats that are going to become available here on the school board this coming election. And so if you feel like you'd like to give back to the community and have a part in making this district even greater than what it is now, we welcome you to submit get a packet from the DeWitt County Courthouse, or you can call the unit office for specific direction on what you need to do if you'd like to at least put your name in the running for one of these 4 seats up for election. We could use your gifts, your talents, your service for this community as well. Otherwise, we'd like to move on to the favorite time of the meetings every month that we have is the exemplary nights. Not only do we take this time to share students with you who have done excellent things throughout the month, but we also wanted to recognize our staff members as well, because we realize all the hours that they put into their service for your children. And we have several. We'd like to at least recognize those first before the kids. And so I'm going to ask that the people who are here would come forward. From the Schneider Elementary building, we have Charity Nadronsny. I'm sorry. Mine is Schneeman, so you got to say it back, okay? You can stay standing up here. From the Blue Ridge Intermediate Junior High School is Pam Hauser, who has come out of retirement for us. We appreciate that. And from the Blue Ridge High School, we have Casey Monsu. Once they all get up here and take a picture, give them a round of applause. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. The exemplary night students, tonight we recognize the actions that brought you to the attention of your teachers and your principal. And as a Board of Education, we appreciate your efforts and your excellence. And we want to thank you for your job well done. And tonight, we have several kids with us here, students. We'll start with the older ones working down. So when you come up, stand in the back row, the high schoolers. From Blue Ridge High School, we have Ty Meeker. Addison Warsaw. From 8th grade, I'm not sure if Dominique Beebe is here or not, but if he's not, let's give him a shout out on the online. We have 7th graders Elizabeth Martin. I don't know, not here. All right. 6th grade, Billy Peterson. 5th grade, Sophia Mitchell. 4th grade, Kara Sander. 3rd grade, Lexi Popejoy. 2nd grade, Camden Mims. All right. 1st grade, Margaret Leonard. And from kindergarten, we have Riley Ash. We'll get a picture of you here. We'll get you in lines here. All right, thank you very much. Yes. You're welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, but you're also welcome to leave at this time if you'd like. Thank you for coming out. All right. Do we have a future board member here in the front row? Oh. All right, we're going to move forward with the meeting. We have a communications.
Communications, I have two FOIA requests to report, one from Smart Procure, and that's a pretty regular request, and then one from Jonathan Yeagle. And both of those have been submitted in a timely fashion.
All right. Any committee reports?
No committee reports, however, I would like to see if the Finance Committee could meet at 6 p.m. before the November 16th board meeting. I'm not sure if our auditor will be present. He's duly booked that evening, but hopefully we'll have some type of presentation about the audit prepared by then.
Who's on that? Francie? Are you on the all right. Mark it down.
6 p.m., November 16th. Thank you.
Okay, administrative reports.
That would be me too. So one thing I want to continue to stress for parents, we'd appreciate if you would download on your smart device the Blue Ridge number 18, Illinois app. That's the best way for us to communicate with families, both sending out letters and then some of the immediate things. We can text through that, so if you could make sure that you're signing up for that, that would be appreciated. Did want to bring back to the community that our school buildings are working with a program this year called iReady. It's a program that we can use for our students to benchmark them in the areas of reading and math. And from the benchmarking, it creates some personalized programs for our students. And we believe that's very important, especially as our students are returning from 2+ years during a pandemic where some of the learning was quite a different format for the kids. Some kids were out away from the building for a long time, and we want to make sure that anything that was missed we're able to catch through this program of iReady. We are also going to have a reunification setup drill coming next week, one per each building, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Sorry, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I believe. Starting with the high school, then going to the middle school, and then to the elementary building. We will be practicing what would happen if we needed to leave our buildings and be bussed over or walking over to a reunification area, and then how we set up in that building to be best prepared for families to come in. We're going to do everything minus the parent pickup this time. And one more thing, our Illinois school report card will be made public by the end of the month, right before the end of the month. And this is the first time that schools will receive designation since 2019. So that's going to be something to be watching for. Pretty hard to compare what kids have learned since the pandemic, but this will be one kind of a starting point for us. And that's my report.
All right. Peyton? Ryan Peyton.
Oh,
Well, wait,
sorry.
Sorry,
Just kidding. My report's done, but we all want to hear about the quarterly financial report.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So he sits down. So in front of you, you have a colored copy of the quarterly financial report. And what I wanted to point out, just kind of get you oriented to that again, in the top left-hand corner, you can see that this is as of 9/30 of 2022. And you're looking at the audited fund balance. Actually, the copy that you have in front of you is the one that I'd prefer that you looked at, because it has, your copy on your computer has the top row cut out. So if you look at your hand printed copy. If you look to column D, that's the unaudited fund balance of 6/30 of 2022, so just where we ended this summer. That's not audited yet because the auditor hasn't come, so we don't have those verified, but that's where we believe we're starting in each of our funds as you go down column D. The operating funds are the ones on the top, funds 10, 20, 40, and 70, where we do most of our work, and then they call the closed funds the one down below, funds 30, 50, 60, 80, and 90. In column E in green, you can see what you approved last month as our revenues that are expected in each of those different funds. And the total down below is a $12 million revenue that we anticipate. So far, the money that has come in is what is in column F, that's in yellow. So the actual revenues to date, you would anticipate, since we're a quarter of the way through the fiscal year, that you would see that we've received about 25% of our revenue. If you look in column G, it tells you what percent we've actually received. So if you look at the operating funds up on top, you'll notice that those are all higher than we would anticipate at 25%. If you remember, just a few months ago, we talked about how our revenue was lower for the entire fiscal year than anticipated. It's because of the timing of the taxes. When that last tax distribution comes before the fiscal year ends, then things look pretty good. When you're closing out your books, when it comes right after, it makes the next year look really good. So that's where we are right now. If you go down below and you see at the bottom of column G, the revenues coming in, you'll notice Fund 60 is only at 8%. We have built in that Fund 60 is going to get some grant money coming in if we get a grant approved for school maintenance and construction. And that overall sum is very small, so a little bit of a difference makes a big difference with the percentages. If you look in column H, last month you approved those expenditures for the budget in each of those areas, those funds, and then the actual expenditure column again is in yellow. That's what's new for the end of this 3-month period. So again, you would anticipate that the expenditures would be around 25%. I like it when they look less than 25%. So up top in the operating funds, they are all less than 25%. If you go down below, you'll see a 0 in Fund 30 for bond and interest. It's because we haven't had a bill for that yet. If you look at another 0 in health, life, safety, we don't have permission to spend any health, life, safety much money. We can't do any of our work yet because our 10-year survey hasn't been approved. We can pay a little bit out of that for different things that are in our risk management plan, but nothing's been used yet. And then you'll see that our expenditures are a little bit higher in site and construction. That's Fund 60, and that's because of the timing of the final payments of the transportation office building. So that was a large chunk that was anticipated. And then also Fund 80, the tort, is very high in expenditures because it's typical that your insurance payments will be due at the beginning of a fiscal year instead of spread evenly throughout. And so then at the far right, in column L, you can see the projected fund balance for all the balances, and then the very bottom right column, $8,061,692, would be a very projected total fund balance by the end of the fiscal year in 23. Any questions about the quarterly financial report?
No? All right, Mr. Payton, you're back up on the floor.
All right, I'll just make a few announcements tonight. Since I feel like we were just here not too long ago. But anyway, we do have parent-teacher conferences that are coming up November 7th and 10th. So those will be our student-led conferences. So really soon, and maybe some buildings already put out their information, but we will be sending out a sign-up genius soon for all of our parents to access dates and times that they can come in and plan to visit with their student's teacher and to learn a little bit more about progress and performance through the school year. I wanted to also talk about our pre-K program. Annually, we receive what's called an Accelerate Illinois rating. Several years ago, we had been given the gold rating, which is the highest rating that you can receive in the state of Illinois for our pre-K program, and we just received the confirmation of that designation again through the follow-up of our continuous quality improvement plan. That's our CQIP that we put together annually. Next year should be the year where they come back and do another program compliance visit. So that will determine our rating moving forward, okay? I also wanted to let you know that we recently were able to go to the IPA conference. All 3 principals were able to attend, and we were very thankful for that opportunity. It provides us a chance to really learn and to network with fellow administrators and to learn about the programs and just systems that are going on throughout our state. The great thing about it is you get to learn some new things, but it also reinforces a lot of practices and things that are currently happening in our district, but also just kind of reviewing some of those really important things that we need to focus on as we do school improvement planning, and just a variety of other things that go into education. So we're very thankful for that opportunity. Any questions for me?
No, great job.
Okay,
Thank you. Bert?
Good evening. So as you saw my board report, as we're kind of digging into the beginning of the school year and really kind of getting our systems in place and our routines in place, I've been spending a lot of time talking with my staff about looking at discipline data, looking at our grades, looking at our collaborations. I'm working with teachers, really trying to get the focus on student learning and how we can improve some things there in Mansfield. Whether it's from missing work, our behavior data, looking at specific students and making sure that we're wrapping around them and the supports that we have in place and what ones we need to add. So we're getting those routines and we're regularly meeting on those, whether it's our MTSS meetings, our grade level collaborations, talking about those things as at our whole staff meetings and also our junior high staff meetings. So we're going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to look to have those discussions so that we can get better. Some exciting news. So I've been working with Andrea Weedman. She's helping me kind of guide through some great traditions that have been over at the middle or at the intermediate junior high school, specifically our Veterans Day celebration and Thanksgiving. So I'm excited to learn about what those have looked like and what we can do as part of kind of a post-COVID times. And so on the 11th, I've reached out and talked to some veterans here at Farmer City at the VFW to help us with honor guard ceremony as part of our day, and we're in the middle of putting together kind of a schedule for that morning with some breakfast with some veterans and also a whole school assembly, and then moving into it's the 18th of November, looking at having a Thanksgiving celebration where we're inviting some community members in for lunch, and looking just to reach out and continue to build those strong relationships in the community as I'm learning all the things that there are there at intermediate junior high school. So it's very exciting. Any questions?
There was a standing invitation to board members on the Thanksgiving meal as well.
I have heard that. I
Yeah.
think that would be a great practice to continue.
The last one that they had, it was very delicious.
Well, these guys said everything that I was going to say, pretty much, so I'll be very brief. I think the couple areas that we have at the high school that might be a little different is, one, our FFA chapter will be at the National Convention in Indianapolis next week. Our program is again being recognized as one of the top in the country, and we'll have some kids being recognized for that on stage. So that is Wednesday through Friday, or Wednesday through Saturday, I believe, in Indy next week. And something else that hasn't happened for a really long time is, if football wins this week, they will be in the playoffs for the first time in 21 years. We're already in? Already in. All right. So they're already guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. So we will be finding out our opponent, I believe Saturday evening is when they'll be making that announcement. So the kids really worked hard in the summer and looked a lot better this year. And the coaching staff has done a great job of getting some buy-in from those. So I think that's what I got. Questions? I know I didn't talk anything about learning and education. I apologize. They stole all my thunder.
All right, thank you. Curriculum?
Okay, I think since we submitted our reports, we've had a couple grants come through that have been approved, which are Title 1, 2, and 4, and we're waiting on ESSER 2 and 1003A to get those final approvals. And I don't know, our person who is evaluating our grants right now will find one word that they just want changed, so they're very picky. But we're almost there with all of our grants for this year, so that's exciting. And then to go along with what Mr. Huddleston said, talking about how we can look at the Mansfield campus, specifically at learning progress and behavior. We are trying to figure out ways that we can embrace the community and the parents and bring them in to open that communication. And so we're working on a family night that we're thinking is going to be towards the end of November, right before school board conference, I believe. And we're going to hopefully have Tanya make some food for our families that come in. We're going to partner with this high school STEM club. They're going to do activities with kids in different stations. While Mr. Huddleston and I talk to the parents, we're going to talk about IAR data, which is the assessment that our 4th through 8th graders take in Mansfield, how to read those results, what it means, and what we're doing as a school to improve those scores. We're also going to do a little bit of a tutorial about our iReady program that we're implementing this year, which assesses both reading and math skills. And then we're also going to just talk about and make sure that parents understand all the different ways that we want to be able to communicate with them this year, which will also include, walking them through Skyward to make sure they can see where to get on to see children's grades, tardies, absences, make sure that they know about our Blue Ridge app, help them download it right then if they need to, the website, and just really I think our goal is to improve communication and get our parents involved. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out, and hopefully we might do another parent night in the spring as well. So, any questions?
Yeah, all right,
Okay.
thank you very much. You have before you the reports for the technology, O&M, transportation, and food services. So, yes.
I wanted to add on the consent agenda before you approve, one thing that I added in, one sentence that I added in to the risk management plan before or after it was uploaded. We have a training that we would like to send our school resource officer to. It's an ALICE training, and because we had not approved our risk management plan yet, I added into the plan not only that we would be able to pay salary for our SRO out of Fund 80, but also we could pay for training. And so by approving that plan with that sentence in there, that allows me the freedom to do that through this fiscal year. So I want to make sure you're aware of that one change.
And that'll be updated in there. It's already updated? Okay. So I need a motion, a second to approve the consent agenda items listed on attachment A as presented.
Anyone?
Carlos? Kenna? Yes. New business, we have a MOA with the D-Land Weldon for transportation support during a crisis.
Jeff Holmes is the interim superintendent at D-Land Weldon, and he and I had recently attended, along with some others, a meeting at Piatt County talking about safety procedures in the event of a disaster, and he has continued to work with that group, and one of the suggestions that they gave him was coming up with a neighboring district who might have access to additional transportation more than what D-Land would have, and if there was a disaster in their district and we were available to help out, he wanted to know if we would be able to send our buses over in the time of a crisis. Talked to Deborah about that. All we can do is our best. If we were all in a crisis, it's not something that we might be able to make available, but if at all possible, if we would be able to help them, that would be appreciated, and if you agree, then he and I will both sign that MOA.
I need a motion and a second to approve the memorandum of agreement with D-Land Weldon Schools for the provision of transportation assistance from Blue Ridge Schools in event of an emergency evacuation of DeLand Weldon Schools as presented. Francie? Jason? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Approve the IASB conference delegate for the joint annual conference.
Well, last time that was Chelsea. We nominated her for that in April of 2021, so I believe that is still the active suggestion that we have.
Once approved, always approved. Do you have any objections to your name being put in there? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
I
unless
do have
anyone
your
else
booklet.
wants to arm wrestle, then I need a motion, a second, to approve Chelsea Laffelman as a 2022 III delegate for Blue Ridge School District 18 is presented. Carlos. Was that Francie? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Temporary part-time bookkeeping trainer.
Okay, mouthful of a name, I see. So last month you had approved a position for 30 hours to help in the office with bookkeeping. I have sought the advice of Monticello School District and Mahomet Seymour School District because they use similar systems to what we do. And I was looking for advice on how to split the current position. And the overwhelming response was that the new position could be called an accounts payable position. That would be a good way to differentiate the work that's done in the office. It is most reasonable that I come back to you and ask for someone that can come train. We are in a situation where we have some reports that have not been filed in a timely fashion, one of which is causing daily penalties, financial penalties. I would like to stop that as soon as possible. And if you would allow me to have a part-time bookkeeping trainer, that the request is kind of threefold. Number one, to complete some critical projects that have been left undone at this point. Number two, work with our current bookkeeper to find and teach efficiencies so we can get back on track. The job has changed tremendously in the last 5 years. Every bookkeeper that you talk to will say, yes, it's just incredible what they expect to come through a school office. The reporting is just astronomical. So I'd like to see if we can get bookkeeping efficiencies with our current bookkeeper, and then if we are able to hire the 30-hour accounts payable position, instead of the current bookkeeper having to stop in their work and to do that training, this part-time bookkeeping trainer could do so. The person that I'm looking at, her name is Colleen German. She comes as a former bookkeeper from the Taylorville School District, comes highly recommended from a fellow superintendent who started a few years ago when I did. Her district was in a really tough spot because they had people leave positions and they put a library clerk into their bookkeeping position, and they had a lot of issues, and Colleen was able to come in and over time find out where the errors were, make those corrections, and help them move forward correctly. So I am asking for yet another assistance and more assistance so we can get back on track. I would like to think that within the next couple months we would be able to get to all of the pieces that need to be looked at for efficiencies so we can move forward correctly with the two regular positions.
That was because it's going to be trainer position as well, so hopefully then the whole thought process is that before the end of the school year that you would have potentially a position created for that other.
Yes, I don't know how quickly, just today, the accounts payable coordinator position was posted. I don't have anybody in mind. Nobody's expressed any interest. I don't have any ideas in my head. I'm hoping that we can find somebody to fill that position within the next couple months. So the first goal of Colleen, should she be approved, would be to kind of stop the hemorrhaging that's going on right now. And then number two, train our current bookkeeper. And then number three, to train the new hire.
Okay. Any questions?
And then she would be done.
Any further questions?
At this point, the time frame would just be until the problem is solved, essentially?
Yes, and I think that's kind of a subjective thing at this point. There's many, many different, oh,
Are we not moving enough?
that doesn't work like that in here. There are so many different responsibilities that go through that bookkeeping office right now. I want to have the proper division. There should be, realistically, there should be some cross-training. Right now, if something happened to our bookkeeper, we couldn't get payroll out. I don't know her job, I couldn't do it. Our unit secretary does some of that job, but not enough of it that she could go in and run payroll. So many small districts are in that position, and it's not a safe position to be in. Same as technology, you don't want one person to have all the access to the underworkings of technology. So yes, this person would be a temporary person to try to get as much efficiency as she could probably stay for years and make us even more efficient, but could we get a reasonable amount of efficiencies? And then I could report back and you could say, yes, I think we're good at this point and move on.
Okay.
I need a motion and a second to approve the temporary part-time bookkeeping trainer position for Blue Ridge School District 18 as presented. I so move it. Need a second? Second. Jason? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Moving right along here this evening. We are moving into the closed session. I need a motion, a second to move from open session to closed session for discussion of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district at 7:31 p.m. Carlos? Second. Francie? Yes.